Guys, thanks for the waiting. This is part 14 of What If Kamen Rider Decade was RWBY. So let's start. Chapter 23, The Calm Before the Storm. World of Remnant, Beacon Academy. Gene didn't know how it happened, but he had somehow picked up a follower. After a short-lived battle with Oo, he had wandered around the campus in search of a place where he can be alone with his thoughts. Penny Polandina, some girl that had been at that tower he was circling, he didn't really notice her, erased that thought from his mind. What do you think of Beacon? Penny asked him as the two made their way across the school grounds. Exactly where was the destination? Gene didn't know. He was just wandering aimlessly. It's not bad, there wasn't much Gene could say. He's only been there for about half an hour, is there anywhere here that nobody goes to? There's the cliff overlooking the Emerald Forest, Penny said after a moment of pondering, not many students go there. Can you show me the way? Of course. Follow me. She took off running towards the direction of the forest. Finally. Crow Branwen grumbled as he walked into the Oshpin's tower. With how much trouble he had with trying to actually get to the Huntsman Academy, the Huntsman would have no trouble that the universe was conspiring against him. Which it totally is. Taking a swig from his flask, Crow entered the elevator and pressed the button to the top floor. But before the doors could close, the entrance to the tower flew open and a man came walking in. Ah! Wait for me! He shouted as he spotted Crow in the elevator, launching into a sprint. The huntsman sighed as the man rushed into the lift, the latter trying to catch his breath. As the elevator began its ascent, the man tried to talk to Crow in an attempt to ease the slight tension, so... Are you new around here? Crow simply raised an eyebrow at the man. I haven't seen you around here before. Well, the headmaster only hired me 2 months ago, so I can't really speak. He said. Okay, then. Realizing that Crow doesn't really want to talk, the man fell silent. The rest of the ascent was tense as the two passengers stayed quiet. After what felt like a long time, the elevator stopped and the doors opened with a ding. And as if Crow's day couldn't get any worse, he heard a voice that he wasn't in the mood to hear. ING to tell me that he came back? A certain general shouted at a lax headmaster of Beacon, his back to the elevator. I was about to, James. He returned not even 2 hours ago, Oshpin told Ironwood, before noticing the two men walking in. Crow, it's good to see you again. Crow. Ironwood turned to see the up till then missing huntsman. Where the hell have you been? And you dash, he glared at Eiji, where is Tsukasa Kadoya? That's, Eiji stumbled over his words, trying to figure out how to explain his friend's, hopefully, temporary departure. There's no need to interrogate the poor man, James. Luckily for Eiji, Oshpin came to his rescue. He's still tired from return. Right now, I assume that Crow has news for us, said Huntsman, who had been off to the side watching the minor squabble between the three, nearly choked on his drink at the sudden mention of his name. So then, Crow, what have you found out for us? Oshpin asked. Clearing his throat, Crow revealed why he came to Oshpin. Ugh. Some weird guy bumped into me when I got to Vale. He said he was looking for Beacon. If I say that would be our new guest, would I be correct, Professor Hino? Oshpin turned to the vagabond rider. Probably. Did he turn into a giant phoenix? Eiji asked the huntsman, to be sure they were talking of the same person. If by phoenix you mean giant burning nevermore, then yes. Nevermore? Eiji muttered under his breath. So it is our new friend. Professor Hino, may I ask where did he go? I don't see him with you. Gene? He sort of wandered off. Can any of you stand still for more than 10 minutes? No guesses as to who said that. Here we are. Penny announced as they reached their destination, that is the Emerald Forest. This place looks quiet enough, Gene observed. Looking around, only the two of them were there. So, Jean, the girl said, can I ask why you're here? You told Professor Hino that something called the Ark was coming, right? What's the purpose of this school? Instead of answering Penny, Jean decided to ask his own question. Huh? Back at that tower, someone called this place a Huntsman Academy, Jean recalled. What does that mean? Huntsmen and huntresses are warriors that surpass most others in terms of strength and skill, Penny explained to Jean. Their purpose is to protect humanity from the creatures of Grimm. Beacon Academy is one of the 4 Huntsman Academy on Remnant that trains those who seek to become one. Can I ask something strange? Of course. Is humanity something that's worth protecting? Penny wasn't sure what she expected, but it's certainly not that. Can you say that again? Is humanity something that should be saved? Jean asked. What makes you think otherwise? Woz told us that Kamen riders are heroes. Thinking back, Woz did say that most were. Humanity is capable of great evil, hatred, destruction, ruin. Knowing that, how can anyone see it as something that needs to be saved? I think I see what you mean. Penny knew how many humans tend to treat the faunus and what the White Fang does in response. I understand that humans would want to stop themselves from extinction, but most of them don't seem to realize the problems that result from their continued survival. Jean frowned, having seen the consequences of humanity's mistakes. Penny, while trying to follow what Jean was saying, noticed something odd about his words. Jean, you keep saying humans like you are not one, she said, looking at him. Jean looked human enough and didn't seem to be a faunus, assuming that there were faunus in other worlds, Penny observed. No, I'm not human, Jean spoke as if that fact was normal. I'm a humagear. A synthetic android with an AI. Android? Penny couldn't believe what she just heard. The thought of Jean being someone like her never crossed her mind. Who made you? What's your purpose? What are you made of? How are you powered? She asked in rapid succession, not giving her new friend the chance to answer. I was recreated to destroy the Ark. Jean revealed, emphasizing on the was, but that doesn't matter anymore. All I want to do now is save the one it is controlling. Can you slow down a bit? I'm trying to process what you just said. What about you? You're a student here, right? As a human, why do you want to protect humanity? Jean somewhat innocently asked, not realizing Penny's true nature. As a human? Penny, unlike Jean, wasn't sure if she should reveal what she really is. Combined with her surprise, she couldn't quite give a confident answer. It's important? So you don't know either. I got it. Penny announced, we can try looking for my friend, RWBY. She definitely can answer your question. Where is she then? She should be in the dormitories. It's over that way. Penny couldn't wait to introduce the two to each other. Come on. Now then, we have other matters that we should address, Ashvin said. Our new guest came with a warning, correct? Warning? Crow, who wasn't around when Jean came to Beacon, raised an eyebrow. Ag was more than kind enough to fill the huntsman in. Jean warned me that something called the Ark is coming soon. Do you have any more information on this Ark? Ironwood questioned, anything useful. When will it arrive? If it has allies, how strong it is? Jean didn't exactly give me anything to go on. Although there was one thing that he got from Jean, he needed to confirm it first. If the general was frustrated with Ag's lack of answers, he didn't show it. Instead, Ironwood asked something else. Where is Tsukasa Kadoya? Does he know anything about the Ark? Ag shared a glance with Ashvin, who somehow had a look of both amusement and exasperation. Before answering Ironwood, Tsukasa also wandered off. I'm not sure if he knows anything either. He might, but I can't be 100%. And the other one? Was? He went with Tsukasa. Now Ironwood looked frustrated. 2020, World of Double, Narumi Detective Agency. Did you manage to get some new information? Philip asked over the phone. While Shotaro and their new friends were out on the case, he had stayed back at the agency as he usually did. I did, his partner answered. Watcherman told me about some reports of suspicious activities near the industrial district. He even gave me some photos. I'm on my way to the district now. And our guests? 2 of them are with me. I sent the green one back with the photos. I'm sure the 2 of you can figure out something from them. You told a boy from another world to find his way back by himself? Philip did not expect Shotaro to do that. Hey, he volunteered to do it himself. Said that he remembered the way to the agency. The half-boiled detective was quick to defend himself. All right, call me if you found anything out. Philip reminded him before hanging up and returning to the task he was doing before Shotaro called. Putting the stag phone into his pocket, he opened his book and started writing on the whiteboards. There wasn't much he knew yet, so all he could jot down were things he and Shotaro already knew from before, such as Charming Raven and the various projects they sponsored. After some time, he heard the door opening and the clanging of the metal stairs. Turning around, Philip saw Ren coming up the second set of stairs carrying a white envelope. Did you find the way back okay? You didn't get lost, did you? Philip asked as he put the marker down and walked up to the teen. I was fine, Ren tried to ease Philip's concern as he handed over the envelope. I wandered the city with Sugo and Blake yesterday. I knew the way back here. It was just he had to take some detours just to get his bearings. I see. Now let's see what we got here. Opening the letter, Philip took the photos out while Ren decided to peek at Philip's notes. So this is everything we know about Foundation X? Ren asked as he read something about museum. Oh, yes, Philip confirmed as he studied the photos. Most of them were odd, as many of them were about a strange purple light coming from presumably a factory at night time. The last few were of a group of people in white, moving somewhere. You mentioned something about cosmic energy. What exactly is that? Ren noticed that there was a point about it. Cosmic energy is exactly what it sounds like. It is the power of the universe, Philip explained. Some Kamen writers use them as an energy source. And Foundation X tried to weaponize it? Yes, Shotaro and I, along with some other writers, had to deal with them a while back. Although it was mostly OO and 4s who did most of the work. OO? Ren repeated before realizing that it shouldn't really be a surprise as most writers are familiar with each other. Philip, however, managed to overhear Ren. Kamen writer Oo Hino Eiji. He was the writer after Shotaro and me. Last I heard, he was investigating something in his world. Although I don't know what. Could he have been looking into Foundation X? Seeing as both the Foundation and the writer were on Remnant, that was a logical conclusion. Most likely yes. Ever since an incident with Foundation X a few years ago, he's been investigating anything that they might be involved in. Philip, not knowing that Ren was already acquainted with the wandering writer, explained further. And what about 4s? What is he like? He was rather curious and wanted to know more. 4's real name is Kisaragi Gentaro. Personality-wise, he's a lot like Shotaro. When we first met him, he was still a high school student. Now, he's a teacher at his old school. After saying that, Philip noticed something in one of the photographs. This is. Meanwhile, with the others. That's the place, Shotaro muttered as he spotted the factory he was informed about. Along with Sugo and Blake, he kept their distance and positioned themselves in a narrow alleyway that had a clear view of the place. The factory wasn't as big as, say, the Charming Raven facilities from years back, but it certainly looked big enough to suit whatever Foundation X might need. So are we going to break in? Sugo didn't know the protocol for dealing with evil organizations, but he assumed that sneaking in would be the next step. Not yet. First, we have to confirm that they're in there. The oldest in the group said as he took out a blue Gaia memory with a silhouette of a bat along with a large blue and black digital camera. What's that? Blake asked, looking at the gadget with curiosity. Bat. This? This is the bat shot. Shotaro named the camera as he plugged the Gaia memory into a slot in its side. Instantly, the camera transformed, wings folding out as a small head flipped up. The bat shot gave a squeaking noise as it flew up and turning to the two teens. Wow! Sugo stared at the mechanical bat with stars in his eyes while Blake silently watched it with muted interest. The bat shot made one last noise before flying off towards the factory. All we gotta do is wait, right? What do we do until then? While she was, regrettably, used to waiting around for the right moment, as the train carrying Schneedust could attest to, Blake was getting tired of sitting around waiting for something to happen. Be patient. We won't have to wait long. Shotaro said as he took out his own stag phone, a black and silver flip phone. Opening it and pressing a few keys, the screen changed as a live feed from the bat shot played. The second it finds something to do with Foundation X, we go in. Oh. So it's just a drone. Sugo, however, was no longer as impressed with the bat shot as he was 10 seconds ago. It's not just a drone. Shotaro defended his gadgets. It's much more useful than a drone. How? It can distract enemies with flashes. Is that really useful? Sugo whispered to Blake, who only had an unimpressed expression. It is. Unknown world. Is the machine ready? Almost. Opening a portal to send everything we gathered takes some time. Chapter 24, The Beginning of the Invasion. World of Remnant, Beacon Academy. While the others were dealing with their own issues, Sun and Neptune, the former more so, were taking their time wandering the grounds of Beacon. After learning of the multiverse and all the problems involved, Sun wanted to clear his head. Still have a headache? Neptune asked his friend as they walked in the school's outskirts, not too far from a fence that marked the perimeter. Not anymore, Sun told him. We should be heading back soon. Yeah, the others are probably wondering where we are. Before they can be on their way, however, a brief and sudden flash of light erupted ahead of them. What the dash? The monkey faunus shouted as reflexively he covered his eyes despite the fact the light had disappeared before his hand even reached his eyes. After rubbing their eyes for a few moments, the duo noticed that a new figure was now standing where the light shined from. It was raking the ground for a couple of seconds before it noticed where he was. What? Sun repeated as the new arrival took in its surrounding. The figure was mechanical in nature. Its body was black, with most of its upper body being covered with silver plating. Similarly, it had golden plating on its legs and along the front of its torso with a black hook on its chest. On its left shoulder was a wooden tag with unfamiliar characters. Finally, it had glowing yellow eyes and had silver horns similar to a stag beetle on either side of its head with another single golden horn on its face. What is this place? The robot spoke in a deep voice. And my headache's back. Students' dormitories. Ruby sighed as she stared at her scroll, still not answering. Despite her and Yang's many attempts, their father still hadn't returned to their calls. What exactly was he doing that he couldn't respond to? How about you, Weiss? Ruby asked her partner, who was busy trying to call her sister. No, it keeps saying that she's out of range, Weiss said. She is probably busy doing business for the Atlassian army. At least you have an idea why she's not picking up, Yang grumbled, lying on her bed. What's he doing? The silver-eyed girl wondered as she put her scroll away. Maybe Uncle Kroll know. Doubt it. When was the last time he visited Patch? Yang shot down that thought. Maybe we should just go to Professor Ojban. He might have an idea. Yeah, you're probably right, Ruby agreed with her sister, but chances are Professor Ojban might have his hands full at the moment. So, once again, we got nothing better to do than lie around and wait. Yang was getting sick and tired of it. Luckily for her, though, the door flew open, and Penny came in dragging her new friend with her. Penny! What are you doing here? While elated to see her robotic friend, Ruby thought that Penny would be with the others at Atlas at the moment. What's more, her companion was someone Ruby wasn't expecting to see so soon. You're Jean, right? So, she's this friend of yours? The sharply dressed man asked Penny, taking a glance at the three inhabitants of the room. Yup. Should he be here? Yang didn't quite know how to feel about the new writer in Beacon's presence. I have a question for you. Although, you two might help too. Jean said. Okay then. What is it? What Jean said next was not something Ruby, or anyone really, was expecting to hear that day. Is humanity something that's truly worth protecting? Ha! Following his question, a small silence fell onto the room, excluding Penny's small nervous laugh. Can we go back a couple of minutes? Yang broke the silence, giving Jean an incredulous look. What the hell did you just say? Jean asked me that just now. I thought you'd be able to convince him that humanity is worth saving. Penny explained to the three. Oh, of course it is. What kind of question is that? Weiss stuttered, dumbfounded by the sudden question. What makes you think it's not? Yeah. We're all humans here. Yang didn't notice Penny's brief change of expression. Wouldn't you think we should be defended? That's the thing. Penny said, Jinns, not human. Can you repeat that? I'm, to put it simply, an android, Jean stated with a mostly straight face. What? You're an android? Ruby, who had been silent the entire time due to being stunned by Jin's question, practically screamed at that reveal. You know, I'm starting to miss 3 days ago when all we had to worry about was the tournament. Yang sighed in exasperation. Ojban's office. General Ironwood, what do you suggest we should do next? Ojban asked the currently frustrated General of Atlas. Now that they know of the impending arrival of the Ark, the headmaster of Beacon Academy was thinking of any possible plans he could do to prepare for the coming battle. Unfortunately, most of my soldiers are currently stationed on the outskirts of Vale, Ironwood told Ojban. With the festival in a few days, it'll be impossible to pull them away in time. In time? We don't even know when this Ark thing will come. Crow spoke his mind, pointing out that fact, or if that it'll show up here or in the city itself. For all we know, it might get here after the festival ends. Well, Jean was rather specific in saying that it'll come soon. AG remembered the Humagear mentioning that several times. Professor Hino, do you have any way to contact Professor Kadoya? Normally, Ojban wouldn't ask, as he assumed that the traveler didn't leave any way to call him. However, his help would defiantly be useful. Sorry, I don't. And his assumption was proven correct. Though there is something else he must ask. Is there any other Kamen writer you could ask for help? No, I can't contact any of the others either. Obviously, AG doesn't have the ability to travel through different dimensions. Trying to get the other writers' help was impossible. Ojban couldn't help but sigh in frustration. When he woke up that morning, he wasn't expecting not only the return of his missing staff and students, but also the sudden arrival of a fourth Kamen writer with his warning. All within the span of a couple of hours. Unfortunately for the reincarnating man, his day was about to get worse. Way worse. Without any warning, the tower started shaking violently, causing the four to be thrown about the room, Ojban falling off his chair. What? An earthquake? Crow shouted in surprise. Wait! That is Dash. AG spotted something familiar outside, high in the sky above Beacon. Something he was hoping he won't be seeing soon. A purple vortex. A portal created by Foundation X with hordes of monsters coming out of it. What's up with today? Coco Adele, leader of Team CVFY, loudly complained as she used her Gatling gun to mow down the waves of enemies that suddenly came out of the massive portal above Beacon. First, the bird guy appeared. Then the professor came back. And now this? When Coco woke up that day, she didn't think that she would be fighting an army of monsters that were coming through a purple vortex in the sky by noon. Along with her team, she had been on their way to the Bullheads to take a day trip to Vale when a sudden earthquake followed by the sky opening up forced them to change their plans. Doesn't matter, Yatsuhashi Daichi grunted in between swings of his sword. Right now, we need to deal with them. Fortunately for them, most of the monsters that came out of the portal, such as the mummies and ninjas, were quite easy to take down. Unfortunately, though, they were getting replaced as quickly as they were killed. And that was not even bringing up the several monsters that came through were much more difficult. Two of which were currently being distracted by the other two members of Team CFVY. Fox! Watch out! And by distracting, they were actually trying their best to avoid getting hit by the two. The first was similar to the flying smash in that it looked like it was artificial with its metallic-looking body. It was mostly black with bits of blue and silver across its body. There wasn't much that stood out from its body, with the only exception being two silver blades that curved around and jutted from its head. The monster wielded twin silver swords in its hands. This was the Stag Lost Smash from the world of Build. Its ally, on the other hand, looked organic and looked similar to an insect. Its body was a blackish-brown color and had golden yellow fur around its elbows. It also had a pair of scarf-like wings hanging from its back. On its head was a large stag beetle over its expressionless face. This was the Kuwagata Yummy from the world of OOO. The smash was incredibly fast and was more than able to keep up with Fox Alistair of Team CFVY, while the Yummy was trying its best to hit the final member, Velvet Scarlatina. Fox! Velvet! Fall back! Coco ordered the two so that they could regroup and think of another strategy. However, the two monsters were having none of it and grabbed the two before they could get away. Let them go. All she got as a response were growling from the monsters. Take this. Luckily, that left an opening for someone to attack them from behind. Lo and behold, somebody did. Specifically, the recently returned professor came to their aid, already transformed into his Tataba form, the Metajalabur in hand. His surprise attack was strong enough to force them to release their hostages. You two okay? Coco quickly caught the tumbling Velvet as Fox managed to balance himself. Getting a nod from her teammates, she turned to AG, Professor? What's going on? Why are they here? I don't know why they're here either, AG said, although he has felt that he has something to do with it, but we need to protect Beacon as best we can. Can you and your team deal with the hordes? I'll take care of these guys. Got it. Let's go. Coco, believing that the professor knew what he was doing, ordered her team and left AG to fight the two monsters. Be careful. AG yelled at them before turning back to his opponents, taking a better look at them, a Yummy and a Smash, I think? AG instantly recognized the Kuwagata Yummy, having fought it in the past. However, he wasn't as confident in labeling the other monster, having not really fought any before. He only assumed it was a Smash because it did not look like any other type of monster like the Fangires or Zodiarts. Regardless of what they were, AG still knew who was responsible for this invasion. Foundation X. What are you up to? AG muttered to himself as he readied the Metajalabur. Burning Rain Rush. Near the students' dormitories, Jean was fighting against the waves of enemies alongside the various huntsmen in training that were in the area, such as Team RWBY, JNPR, and Penny. He was in the middle of his discussion with the three members of Team RWBY when the invasion began. Inferno Wing. Burning Rain. Normally, he would be more conservative and used his finishers sparingly, as he was still damaged from his earlier, one-sided, fight against the Arkansas. However, with how many were coming through the portal, he needed to try and destroy as many as he can, as fast as he can. Damn it! What's up with these guys? There's no end to them. He heard Yang shouting over the sounds of the battle, Hey, Jean. You got any idea what's happening? Is this the Ark thing you were talking about? No, it's not. The Ark shouldn't have all these soldiers. He answered as he destroyed another group of black ninjas. Had he not had other things to worry about, Jean would question what exactly they were. Then who the hell are they? Yang. Focus. It's a legitimate question. Focus. Fine. Temporarily letting the matter lie, Yang turned her attention back to the mummies that turned into one half of the gray metals that looked similar to their professor's core metals upon being defeated. There's still one problem. Until that portal closes, more would still be coming through. Weiss had long since realized that it didn't really matter if they destroyed the grunts. As long as they were getting replaced, all they were doing was tiring themselves. But how are we supposed to shut it down? John said as he cut down several of the grunts. I don't know. Weiss. Ruby yelled as her partner was suddenly hit by a monster that appeared in a purple flash. Thankfully, her aura took most of the blow for her. That is Dash. Jean didn't understand it. Why was that here? He knew what the monster was. The monster looked like it was a machine. Its body was black with silver armor pieces with all dark pink wires over its body. It had a massive Gatling gun for a left arm with a large silver claw molded into it. Its face was similar to a lion's and had a pair of sky blue fangs and eyes. Additionally, it had dark pink sticks of dynamite in place of a mane with several thick wires, as hair coming from the back of its head. On its waist was a black buckle with a dark pink progress key inserted into it. A raider? Specifically, it was the dynamating lion raider from the world of 01. Triple scanning charge. Seiya. With a slash of the meta Jaliber, reality itself seemed to have been cut together with the Kuwagata Yummy. The next second, reality returned to normal as the wound in space healed itself while the Yummy exploded into cell metals. And now for you Eiji announced as he turned to the Stag Lost Smash, only for it to quickly run at him with super speed and slashing him with its swords. Super speed? Then I should use this. Speaking to no one in particular, Eiji swapped out the Taka and Bata metals in his driver for the Lion and Cheetah metals before scanning them. Lion. Tora. Cheetah. Rada. Ratora Ta. If one were to watch from the sidelines, all they would be able to see were two black and yellow blurs dashing all over the courtyard, periodically colliding with each other, sparks flying off when they did. After a few strikes, the smash was sent tumbling across the ground as Oo managed to overpower it. Taking advantage of the moment, he scanned his driver again. Scanning charge. Seiya. With a cross-slash with the Tora claws, the Stag Lost Smash blew up in a fiery explosion like its ally. Good. Now to help the Eiji trailed off as the smoke cleared, leaving the still-alive Smash trying to get back up. What? You? To Eiji's surprise, it began speaking, help me. You are Dash. Please, help. Save the others. The now conscious Smash cut Eiji off. However, it fell back to its knees as its body started dissipating. We were taken by the ones in white. They experimented on you? Save them. With those final words, the former human turned into a cloud of blue smoke. Where is it? With the others at the dormitories, the two teams plus two robots had their hands full with the constantly teleporting raider. Whenever they tried to attack it, it disappeared and reappeared behind them. Sometimes, they themselves were the ones that were teleported, appearing next to and hitting their friends by mistake. What's causing Tia? John. Yang was interrupted by the blonde leader on JNPR being teleported in front of her, accidentally hitting her with his sword. Sorry. John quickly started apologizing, not wanting to earn to ire of Yang. The raider doesn't have the ability to do this, even though it was created before he was reactivated. Jean had the data on all the raiders thanks to the one who rebuilt him. Because of that, he knew for a fact that the dynamating lion progress key should be able to teleport, let alone teleport others. That meant something else was causing it. Where are you? Show yourself. Dynamating bolide. Jean. Watch out. Ruby warned the red Kamen rider. While Jean was distracted, the raider pushed a red button on the side of the raid riser and activated its finisher. Within a few moments, a larger purple Gatling gun made of energy materialized around its left arm and aimed at the Falcon rider. Wadashi was cut off as the barrel of the energy gun started turning, shooting out yellow shots that started blowing up upon hitting something, i.e., Jean and his surroundings. Damn! This is what you usually fight. Yang suddenly had a newfound respect for the Humagear, if this was the type of foes he fought in his world. Readying itself, the raider dashed towards the Kamen rider, only to be shot at by someone other than the ones it was fighting. Sorry for being late. The culprits shouted as they run to aid their friends. Sun. Neptune. And another robot? RWBY stared wide-eyed at the silver robot accompanying the two members of Team SSSN, a small, oddly shaped black, silver and gold gun in hand. I have arrived. The robot said in a serious and deep tone, completely at odds with the current situation. What are you? You're not a Humagear. Despite all that had happened in the past few hours, Jean was surprised at the appearance of another robot. I am the Buddyroid, BJ Stag. The now-named Jay introduced himself, walking up to and positioning himself in between the two groups of huntsmen and posing, blocking Sun and Neptune. Hey! Don't cover us! Sun shouted as he pushed the Buddyroid out of the way. We found him near the edge of Beacon right before that portal opened, Neptune explained, pointing at the purple vortex that was still sending more monsters through. He was all like, take me there, and then we came here. Another android? Penny stared blankly at Jay, not sure how she should react to the so-called Buddyroid. Wrong. I am a robot, not an android, Jay denied Penny's sentence. There may be a roid in Buddyroid, but I am a robot. Wait? What do you mean another? Sun questioned, not knowing that Jean was not human. Well, what should we do about the dynamite? Jay said out of the blue, confusing the others. The what? The dynamite sticks that the other robot threw at our feet. In sync, everyone, minus Jay, looked down at the ground, and unfortunately, seeing what Jay was referring to. 3 lit sticks of dark pink dynamite thrown by the raider. Dynamite that was about 5 seconds away from exploding. Run! Not needing to be told twice, everyone immediately leaped away, everyone but Jay, that is. Kaboom! While everyone else managed to get away, Jay was caught in the blast. Jay! Despite only having met him less than 30 seconds ago, RWBY still screamed in despair over the death of the Buddyroid. I am alright, the monotonous voice of Jay came from the smoke. Once the dust settles, the silver Buddyroid stood there completely undamaged. The dynamite is not very effective. Oh, okay. Ahem. Let's go, guys. RWBY, now feeling much better, readied crescent rose. Affirmative, I shall transform as well. Jay glanced at Jean for a moment before turning to the raider. Transform? Oh, for God's sake. Yay! Ignoring the others, Jay pulled out and slanting the golden lens of his Morphin blaster before pulling the trigger. It's Morphin time! A holographic golden ring materialized around Jay's legs and slowly rose. As it did, parts of Jay's body glowed golden before casting off and vanishing, turning him more human-like. As the ring reached his neck and shoulder, it disappeared as a smaller ring appeared around his head and rising as well. Like before, parts of his head vanished into thin air, like his horns and faceplate. Bringing the lens to his eyes, Jay spoke a different phrase than the riders. Let's morphin! The lens changed shape and turning metallic blue immediately as it filled the hole left behind from the vanishing faceplate. Now transformed, Jay looked completely different. His arm braces and shoulder pads turned metallic blue and became more streamlined. He had silver boots with a thick, metallic blue rim along with silver gloves. His suit was mostly black with some silver on his outer arms and most of the right side of his chest. His helmet was nearly completely silver, with some black lines running across parts of it. Connected to his metallic blue visor were silver parts that looked similar to the temples of glasses. Additionally, on either side of his head were strange flashlight-like lenses with short horns pointing forward attached to them. Stag Buster. Jay, unlike the Kamen riders, called out his codename. That's different. To be continued.